Hello, friends, and welcome to Pathologic Volume 3, Episode 4. In this 5-part mini-series, we are setting some puzzles rather than just solving them. And today we are going to be putting together a LITS puzzle. This is a genre that usually, for me anyway, requires a little bit of backtracking toward the end to fix up the puzzle and make it legal. It's one of these where just coming up with a legal answer is almost as tricky as coming up with the interesting logic to solve along the way. So expect a little bit of that at the end, but I'm confident we will end up with something playable for you all, and hopefully this will be an interesting look at what it takes to put one of these together. So, if you have not seen one of these at all, go back and watch the earlier video on a LITS. But if you just need a refresher, we will take a quick look at the rules. LITS is a puzzle that is named after the 4 shapes that we will be drawing in the grid. The rules are: shade 1 tetromino of cells in each region so that all shaded cells form one orthogonally connected area. So let's do a couple definitions here. A tetromino is just a connected set of 4 cells. So for example, this is an S shape, this is an L shape, this is a T shape, and so on. Orthogonally connected area is just a way of saying in this kind of grid that you can get from any shaded cell to any other shaded cell by only traveling through shaded cells in the grid. 2 tetrominoes of the same shape may not share a bold border, counting rotations and reflections as the same. So this S here could not connect to another S anywhere in the grid or across one of these borders. We're going to have exactly 1 tetromino in each bold bordered area, and this L could not be touching another L, even reflected. No 2x2 region may be entirely shaded. That is just saying that given any 4 cells in the grid that make a little square, at least one of them must be unshaded. Sometimes we use region to mean a set of cells that are bordered by a bold border like this. In this instance, region is just saying any 2x2, even if there's a bold border inside them. Today I'm setting a LITS puzzle using the PuzzleLink interface, and we can start these puzzles a few ways. I think probably the easiest one is going to be to give a given shape right off the bat. And I'm just going to give a T somewhere in the grid. So by making a region that only has 4 cells in it, the answer is going to definitely include all of the cells in there. And that also gives us a couple 2x2s we can unshade right away. And then we could do the probably simplest thing that we can add to that is to now give a shape that only has 4 cells in it when considering the now known unshaded. So for example, if we put borders there, now this region needs 4 and we can't have that one, so it's going to be those 4. So those are kind of the simplest. Now we can move on to using the no adjacency rule. And let's look at to the right here. If we did the same thing that we did there and made, let's say we made that shape, this would need an L in it to fit the other 4, but it would be adjacent to an L, which will be illegal. So actually, if we were to increase that region by 1 cell, then we will not be able to do that L still, but we need 4 connected contiguous cells in that region, and this is the only way we'll be able to do that, which gives us another unshaded. So those are probably my go-to, and if we can do connectivity, that's the other thing you can do, and it's the harder thing to do to me. Let's look at making a region that makes avoiding a 2x2 the difficult thing. If we slide a region up against this one right here, then and we keep it 1 wide, the shape isn't going to be allowed to be in this cell, because then we'd have a 2x2 right here, and we can kind of slide that up and around. So we couldn't have these 4 or these 4 or these 4. All of those would break this region. And what we can do is force a gap in the puzzle, which will set us up for a continuity argument later. So if we made this come down 1, then we'd be able to do an L shape that connected to this straight. So what I'm actually going to do is carry this a little bit further. So in this big region now, we can't start here because we'd have a 2x2, or here, or here. Those would all cause 2x2s. And here, we'd have 2 identical shapes touching. So that's out too, which gives us this and that, and gives us a gap between these. So we're going to have to connect them some way later, which will be, which is nice in terms of giving us potential solving opportunities. And now if we do a similar thing right here, what shape does this have to be? It can't start here or here because we'd have 2x2s, and it can't be here because that would give us another L shape. So it is going to be these 4. And what can we do next? So it'd be nice to get some shapes that are a little fatter, because those are interesting to look at. We'll probably be able to do something with the connectivity that encourages that a bit. Which side should we work on next, and how? Let's look at... we can't have both of these be shaded, so we can have a region like this, maybe, that we won't have defined what shape is in there yet, but we know that not both of these are shaded. So since there are 5 cells and at least one of these is unshaded, that means these 3 are shaded, and then one of these 2, and we'll have to disambiguate that through probably a same shapes can't touch rule. In fact, we can do that. I'm gonna say by making a shape here. Plus shape is pleasant to look at, and we have 1 cell that cannot be shaded, so these 3 must be. These are out now, and now this one can't be another T because we'd have 2 touching T's, so that becomes shaded. This becomes out. And let's see where we're going next. I'd love to have some forced unshaded stuff happening here or down at the bottom in order to have a connectivity thing happen between. We could also do connectivity with a big open space. That can work pretty well. Let's see what we can do at the bottom of the grid. If we, let's see, with this being unshaded, we could do a shape like this in the corner, which can't have these four be shaded. So this one must be to be connected. We can't have these two because that would be two of the same shape touching. So that is definitely shaded. So this is either an L or an S. All right. Let's see. What could tell us more? If I'm trying to figure out if we can force this to be shaded, that forces the disposition of this thing. We can do that by, we can't have this be an L if we're going to force this to be an L. Or this, we can make this one into an L, forcing this to be an S. That's also somewhat reasonable. If we had this shape, what does that do? I'm trying to figure out if that's going to fully specify it or not. It's going to force these two cells to be shaded. No matter how we shade four contiguous cells, these two are included in that. And that then makes this unshaded by 2 by 2. And so then these two are shaded, this unshaded by 2 by 2. And now this can't be another L. We can't have an L next to an L, so that becomes an S. And we're legal. Okay. Good. Can we do something here that... This configuration is going to make it difficult to do what I want to do, which is to prevent some of these cells from being filled in at all. If I did like this region, then sure it can't, it breaks, but not in a way that I can make use of, I don't think. Let's see. So I can box off the bottom of this pretty easily by making something that would be an L shape. Something like that would now have to be an L shape over here, because otherwise we'd have two L shapes touching. And what does that let me do? Anything good, he wonders. I don't know. Trying to come up with something cool. It'd be easy. I mean, it's easy to make a shape that is forced in here. But what I was really hoping to do is block off almost all the possibilities between these, and then have to use connectivity to bridge the gap. We could do a bit of that. Okay, how about this? If we make not enough room to fit a shape in, Ooh, this is good. Okay. So if we did this big squiggle, we can't put a shape here or here. This could actually go up even further because we can't put a shape here because we'd have a 2 by 2. We could even go to here. That's actually kind of lovely. So these are all going to be out. We just need to give something at the end that can actually be filled in. And that is going to be something like this. All right, let me see if I've done what I think I've done here. We can't fill in this spot because we have a 2 by 2, as with this. So all of these are out. This is out because it's not big enough. This would make a 2 by 2. This would make a 2 by 2. This would make a 2 by 2. So now we have this region here, which needs to escape. It can do that a couple ways still, unfortunately, but that's okay. We might be able to find a way to disambiguate that, because we could do that. We could do that. Those might be the only ones, because then we'd have two L's next to each other if we did anything else down here. So if it doesn't contain this, then we're down to a T. If it does contain this, we can have an S. Good, and we'll be able to split those apart. But now we've got a cool thing happening here, where this region on the right now is isolated from everything on the left except through this little gap here. So we're going to have those be shaded. And can we make that? Yes, if we made that a shape, we would have to either do a T or an L here, because we couldn't do an I, because we'd have two I's next to each other. Okay, so so that's pretty good. What if we boxed this off right here? What can go in there? We're going to have those two be involved now. We could have this L here. If we have that L there, oh, we're fine. An L here is broken. This L is broken because this side can't reach over here. It would need to go to here and up, or to the right. Either one is going to be the same as one of those. So if this were the case, that would be broken. So that means this one is involved, which means this one's not involved, means those two are in, which means this is a broken puzzle. Shoot, that was feeling good. The reason it's a broken puzzle is because this now can't be another T. It's got to be an L, which now isolates this in a way that can't be fixed. So that's a bummer. Okay, so we can't do that little T. If we let it grow a little bit further, so it's not a T, maybe it's this shape. Does that help things? So now if this remains a T, it's still a problem. If it's this L, it's it's still a problem. If it is this L, then yep, then we're broken. So we have to involve this one, which means we can't involve that one. So we've got to do that, which means we've got to do that and that, and we are still okay. So now we've got this region up here, this region over here, and this one down there that need to all connect through this little area left here. How can we do this the cleanest way? We're probably going to have to split this region to get 2 more shapes in there. That's my guess. We'll have to do it in a way that if with something like that, I think that's broken, probably because we won't be able to, yeah, we're going to have a 2 by 2 no matter what if we did that. Okay. So this is where in a LITS I often have to do a little bit of backtracking right at the end, just to get a legal solution at the end is sometimes tough. Can we even fit 8 cells in here? I'm not sure we actually can fit 8 cells and not have some breakage. This down here, we only had 2 possibilities. And one of them would force, let's see if this is actually already broken. If we used this possibility of the 2 possibilities, now from here we've got to get to both of these, and we can only do that in 4 cells. There's just no way. So maybe this is actually specified enough. If this one is the one, then we're going from here, and we need to touch both of these, which might only have one solution, which would be pretty lovely. We need to get one of these 2 cells. We can't have both of them. We'll need to have something up here, one of these 2 cells. So what if it were the bottom cell here? Then this would have to now come up here, but then we'd have an L next to an L. Oh no, we're not going to, this is broken because all of our options will either be this shape or this shape or this shape. That is what I hadn't seen. Drat, I was feeling good about that for just a moment. Okay, so let's see about expanding this a little bit such that this cell, this region here can get to the outside world. So our logic along here relied on this section being a single wide, so we can't change that. If this, so let me rephrase that. So what was preventing these from being filled in? This one, because it would make a 2 by 2 here. This one, because it would make a 2 by 2 here. This one would have made a 2 by 2 over here. So if we expand this left side, this is now back in contention. So we do have to be a little careful about that. Yeah, because if we let's say we increased that just a little bit. Now we could do that shape, and all we have to do is connect these two. Yeah, that's the problem. We don't really want this this cell to allow any shade, because if it does, then this is already connected up, which makes it no longer constrained. And when we had it like this, we couldn't do that anymore. So I'd really like to preserve this solution and modify something up here to make that solution not... I'm rambling a little bit here. Let's see if I can... Okay, I could bring this up a little bit. And that won't allow these to be filled in. Does that help at all? This can't be filled in because it either makes the 2x2 that we had before, or if it takes these four, it's a different 2x2. And if this is filled in down to here, then it either goes to the right, makes a 2x2, or it goes over here, it makes 2x2. So these are both out now. So now this has to be in. We can't just go up, and because we can't, we'll have to go west no matter what we do here. And oh, please tell me I have a solution here. This can't... I'm worried about not being able to connect to these now. I'm going to have to back up a little bit further, I fear. Because I think all of this was good. Where was the last line that I put in? It was right there. Okay, let's go back to this. I was so happy about being able to isolate things, but I think we need to contemplate this a little bit further. Okay, so we can't have both of these be filled because we would clash with that. So that one's definitely in. And this could either be a T or an L. Down here, we have either this shape or this shape. And so it was walling this thing off that then caused the chain reaction that ended up with no way to fill up here. So let's assume that we want to let's see what would happen if we drew a line like this. So we can't fill this in because it would then have a 2x2. This would be okay. Definitely goes like that. Can't go down here because then these two would be out and these would be oh boy. No, they it's okay if they're stranded if this is in. Um, okay, that's not the end of the world. Um, let's see about connection now. Um, if this, we could still do this, or we could do this. And our restriction on this shape is what made that unambiguous. If we brought this down one further, now there's only one. Oh no, that actually breaks both, doesn't it? Oh bollocks. Okay, so we can't have this be an, if we can have this be an S, but if we take away this cell, we could no longer have this be an S, which is no good. What if this doesn't snake down here and instead snook up here? Let's see what would happen. So actually I'm going to rewind. Okay, so what if this sneaks up like that? Okay, we can't have this because of the 2x2 or this because of the 2x2, but starting here it might be okay. Let's even say that it goes like that. We couldn't have this because it would be an L. It would have to be like that. And in this corner, there's only one way to avoid a 2x2. We have to have these two involved, and this is the only shape that's going to give us not a 2x2 there. Okay, so does that help us at all? I don't know. If this is out, then here we'd need to do that, and then something to connect these. If this is in, then oops. Okay, if this is out, I mean, what if we just gave another gimme? I hate doing that, but maybe it's the thing to do here. So we just gave that as another gimme. So now we have all legal placements, except this needs to reach this through this region. And there's probably more than one. Yeah, there is more than one way to do that. But can we... Is there only one? There's only one arrangement of two shapes that fits in there, and it would cause some conflicts. And unfortunately, there are two ways to do an S that connects these things. Okay. I'd love to make this impossible somehow. What if I extended this? We can't start there because of the 2x2. This would force a 2x2. Here, now we have these four. This is out, this is in. This has to touch here. This has to come out. I think we've done it. Okay, this can't be a T because it would touch that T. we've got to get up to the top. Oh, so close, so close to having it. Problem is, we could do that, or we could do that. How do I make one of those impossible? I'm going to do something a little reckless and see what, and just bring this up like that, which may have blown up some of the logic. But that will, if that in fact is impossible to fill, which I don't know it is anymore, but let's say it is, then this one will have to do this to survive. Okay. I've now shattered my 100% confidence that we have a solution path because I made that change right at the end, but it's feeling possible. So I'm actually going to erase the answer. We're going to give this a shot and see how far we get. So that's a given, which gives us this, which gives us these three at least here, but not this one because then we'd have two L's next to each other. Can't be any of these. Can't be here because we have 4 in a row, or 2 eyes touching. Can't be there. This is out. This is out. So we've got at least these 3. Not this because it'll be 2 L's touching. So it's like that. This is out, which takes that out. And this is out because we get a 2 by 2. This must be shaded because if not, we would have these 4 would have to be shaded, giving us a 2 by 2. So this is definitely shaded. It's not these 4 shaded because then we'd have 2 T's touching. So this is definitely shaded. Okay. In this plus, no matter how we do it, this one's going to be shaded. In this big L, these 3 have to be shaded. In this weird shape, this one's going to have to be shaded because it's in the middle. Same thing goes here, but not both of these are shaded because of making a 2 by 2. So these 2 have to be, and that tells us what's happening here. It tells us 1, 2, 3, 4 somehow get shaded here. Here it's 4 out of these 5. It can't be these 4 because it'd be a 2 by 2. So that's definitely in. So that's out. And that gives us this L. Now this can't be an L. So that's definitely shaded. We can't have these 2 because we'd have a T next to a T. So that's definitely shaded. And now this has to be shaded to connect those. This can't extend that way because we have an L next to an L, so it's like that. This is out, therefore that's out. This would make a 2 by 2. This would make a 2 by 2, and now we don't have enough on that side. This would make a 2 by 2, so we've either got these 4 or these 4, but these they have in common. So that means that is out. We can't have both of these be in now, so that means all 3 of those are in. We can't have this because we have an L next to an L, so it's like that. This can't be shaded because we have an L next to an L, so that's out. That's in. Now we've got, can't have these 4 because we'd have an L next to an L. So at least, so one of these is shaded. If this were unshaded, then the possibilities in here are all 4 of these are shaded, which is a 2 by 2 already, not allowed. Forcing this to be shaded, forcing that to not be shaded, forcing this to be shaded giving us an L next to an L. So all the possibilities are bad unless this one is shaded, which takes that out, which takes that out. Now out of these, we can't have these three all be shaded. So there's at most two here, which means there are these two, and now they have to connect, giving us an L shape. Can't have this be shaded because we have a 2 by 2. So out of these 5, these 4 can't be the 4 that are shaded. That'd be a 2 by 2. So we start it there, come into here. Can't do these 2 because we'd have an L next to an L. So that's in. That means that's out by 2 by 2. This is in. Can't have a T next to a T. So this is an S. And it's just these. We can't have, we need one more shaded. And if it were this one, then we would have this area here be separated from the rest of the grid. So it's not that one, it is this one. And I think we have done it. Let's just double check our adjacencies. We can do a check shaded cell connection to make sure they are all in fact connected. We've got an I, T, L. The T is next to an L, which is next to an I. I is touching, let's see, a T, an L. Here's another L. None of those are none of those same shapes are touching. The L is touching an T. That's fine. The T touches an I and an S. The I touches an L. The S touches a T. The T touches an S. The S touches an L. There are no like shades touching there. And I believe that we have successfully test solved it. So that is how you construct a LITS.